That's the beautiful thing about awareness, isn't it? It's not like it changes. Like, it's not like the information changes. It just sinks in so much deeper.
Yeah.
All these sayings and all of these quotes that you hear every day, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I get it. And it's just deeper and deeper.
Yeah. When you allow yourself to create. So we're the creators, but like you say, we're not really the ones that are creating. We are. It's coming through us, and we're allowing it through free will to create.
Yeah.
And, and otherwise, for example, someone who's a really talented musician and singer, and there's literally millions of them everywhere, but they spend their life, which I did quite up for long years, is to worry about paying the mortgage and earning the money and having the car and okay, I got 12 guitars, but So you have this conditioning and programming that to do these things, which ends up causing you disease. Right? And disease turns into disease. And I mean, it's in the word, dis-ease.
That's right.
And the same with emotion. It's energy in motion. So and if it's all out of whack, and it's not all as Dr. Joe talks about heart-brain coherence and all that sort of thing, if everything's out of whack and you've got this slight disease all the time, it turns into disease because you're in that sympathetic nervous system all the time where you're in depletion mode. Even if you're only a little bit, you can't be in both at once. So even if we're supposed to spend a bit of time in sympathetic nervous system, otherwise you would get hit by the bus because you wouldn't care about crossing the road in front of it. So
I've been there. I can't die.
You have to have some sort of fear, and there's this primal fear and that, but it's just gotten so out of whack and out of control. Whereas most people live a majority of their lives in the sympathetic nervous system, and for mine, that is what causes most of disease and cancer and all that sort of thing, is we are not living the way we should to. We're not living in abundance. We're not drawing the energy into us from the food, from the sun, from the air, from the ether. And therefore, as you get lower and lower and lower, of course, your body starts feeling that and starts telling you. And then the way that we deal with our body telling us that we're in so much dis-ease and discomfort in that is to take a magic pill. And the magic pill causes side effects. Then you're going to take another magic pill. Before you know it, like I was years ago, I was on 8 different medications at once for a bad back. To
counteract all the other ones. It's really and one I guess sentence came through, talking about my friend earlier, was it won't stop until you stop it. And that's so powerful, because it's up to us to say, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to be like this anymore. I know that I wasn't put on this earth to suffer. And it's so interesting that so many people around the world just think that that's what life is. Why would we be here to suffer? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
No, that's right. And they're just eternal. There's nothing I can do about that. They're eternal victims. That's just the way life is. Well, I'll just grab a little bit of joy and love and comfort here and there, but the rest of it's just a sludgy, horrible old journey where I have to work all day to pay everything off. And people do have, let's not discount that people are going through a lot right now. There's a lot going on. People are, even through the last couple of years of pandemic and the isolation, and then now with the inflation and people who wanted their body sovereignty, losing their houses and all that sort of thing. And there's people living on the streets, and there's violence going on left, right and centre. And I don't discount any of that. That's really horrible. I really feel for all those people. I really do. That I honestly believe our collective consciousness, and this is my belief in being a light worker and an empath, and proudly so, because it's only recently we can start saying these things, because everyone was hiding in the corner, not really telling anyone what they were doing. But now is the time for everyone to rise up, for everyone to stand in their power, to be the empaths that they want to be and be the light workers that they want to be. And help transmute all that energy into beautiful energy, because that collective consciousness will change then, where once everyone starts, awakening and realizing there is this other option of going inwards, where there is a beautiful, no matter what happens on the outside, there is this beautiful thing within us that we could connect with the universe and everything. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the world will change, because collective consciousness is reality. Mm-hmm. That's what it is, and it's been proven, and that's what I like about quantum physics, not that I understand it a lot. Entanglement is it's the melding now of spirituality with science, which has never happened before. You weren't allowed, because it was a church state. Yeah. The two were kept separate.
Well, that's it, and I believe that, things like this happen in the world to push us into these. Okay, this isn't working. It's really not working now, guys. We're going to have to do something different.
Yeah.
And that's, that breaking point, and that, I don't want to do this anymore. It's meant to be different, and it's an evolutionary process that's just phenomenal. And it's like the river. You can fight it and try and go upstream, or you can let it take you, baby, and see everything on the way. And, I don't know if you saw on my social media, but I did a meditation, and I actually went down into the core of the earth, and the Elohim race.
I saw that. I wanted to get that meditation and try, and I'm going to. I want to get that meditation and try it, because I don't do a lot of that sort of stuff. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, well, they basically said about, life being this symphony, and we are all specifically designed to play our part in the orchestra. And not only that, we are actually put at specific locations across the world, and others that a few spiritual teachers or guides have been traveling around and doing activations and things. And it's to raise the vibration and activate that area and that, I guess, I don't know, vortex or to create, this
portals, vortexes.
It's all of the things, right? And, and then eventually, as more, I guess they referred to it as a symphony for me to be able to picture in my head it as the more people who raise their vibration, it's like playing music, and the louder it gets, the more people will start to hear it, because their vibration gets risen to the point where they can start to hear it, and they're like, oh, hang on, what's happening around me, And it's just this beautiful, beautiful unfolding and expanding.
Yes, instead of trying to hit someone with a stick, say, this is what you've got to do to awaken, this is what you've got to do that. No, just give your energy.
Yes.
Just show your beautiful energy and talk your truth. And those who want to hear it will hear it. Those who don't won't. And those who are sitting on the fence will have a little question about it and may take it a little bit further. Mm-hmm. It's not for us to try and awaken anyone.
That's right.
It's not for us except to work on ourselves. And the more I'll change that, not work on yourself, to become more yourself, to have more realization, because it's not work.
No.
People say work's got to be work, but it's not work. It's a beautiful experience no matter what you're feeling.
That's right.
Like you were saying before, to see and be everything, one of the meditation methods that I use, and from time to time I tend to do things full on for a little while, and then things happen to me and I move on to something else. So it was a friend of mine said, well, the way that you can get deeper and everything is to feel all emotions at once. Right, so then I started practicing. So I felt a bit of anxiety, a little bit of anger and that sort of thing, but I'm feeling joy at the same time. So then I actually concentrated on trying to feel every emotion, and I did. Just feeling all these emotions at once, and guess what happened? Boom.
Yeah. That's right.
Up I went,
Yeah.
So even now, when I've got this joy and ecstasy and then beautiful feeling, I can still feel anxiety. I can still, it's not mine. I've got nothing to be anxious about.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter where it comes from. Maybe it is mine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's past lifetimes. Maybe it's people down the street or across the world or whatever.
Yeah.
Or someone I know. But the point is to accept it.
Yes.
And then it doesn't do anything.
That's right.
When you sit in the fire of anger, of sadness, of whatever, and you're sitting there, and after a little while you go, oh, fuck, is that all you got? Is that it?
Yeah.
Is this what I've been avoiding all these years, just to feel like this? And then, of course, what happens is after a while, and there's a great book called Letting Go by David Hawkins, which is you were just reading same book, same similar sort of, path. And it's such a simple book and such a simple method of of where your thoughts can make you aware of your emotions, and your emotions can make you aware of your thoughts.
Yep.
You know, and to be able to transmute those emotions and concentrate on them, sit in the fire with them, and they disappear very quickly. I mean, up to 20 minutes when you first start sometimes.
Yeah.
And you just sit with them and sit with them. What I find now is that I sit with them and they quickly turn to the joy and ecstasy.
Mm-hmm. Because they, you know, and I see that as shadow work, because when you're increasing your awareness, you're allowing, it's like been known to be spoken about, like going into a dark room with a torch. And so you imagine going into yourself with this torch, and all of a sudden this torch, then you were able to light a candle and then a lantern, and then you can turn the light switch on. Or I also picture it as curtains, and slowly you're opening the curtains further and further, and it's letting more light in.
Yeah.
And as we're you know, get to a level of awareness where we understand a bit more about what emotions are, and that they aren't something to run away from, and they aren't something to be held back or feared. And then we can allow them. They just want to be seen and heard. It's just like, you know, a part of you that's like, hey, I'm in here and I don't really feel like these other guys do. Do you want to just like have a chat? And then you have a chat and you're like, oh, okay, do you want to come hang out now in the light? And that's all it takes, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange. And, you know, people talk about nefarious entities and keeping them out and putting a bubble around yourself and that sort of thing. And my sort of feeling on that, not thoughts, because it's feel. I mean, one of my favourite things is to don't think, just feel. Mm-hmm. You know, 90% of our thoughts are not necessary. Mm-hmm. And it's freeing when you stop thinking and just feel, you know. Yeah. It doesn't matter what the feeling is.
Yeah.
Because you're not attaching all this thought to it. But all your nefarious entities and come down to psychic attacks and all that is a fragment of yourself. From a past life. It doesn't matter what it's from, a past life or this life or whatever. When you go, well, that's just a fragment of me, and I've had some scary experiences I caught on lucid dreaming a little while ago, so now I'm having all these lucid dreams and got entities coming right up to me this far away, faceless with hoods on and stuff, and I'm just looking at it and going, well, it's just part of me. Yeah. You know, I'm aware of it, you know, and then it just disappears, it goes.
That's
you know?
right.
And the other thing that Matt Kahn says is all these shadow entities and everything that come, and they're actually afraid of the light.
That's right.
But when they get they're afraid of the light, but so then they try and be this horrible nefarious entity, and they make you afraid. But when you're not afraid, they're drawn to the light, and then they get sucked into your light and transmuted and go wherever they go. Or as my mum says, those aspects of you that have been in past lives and that are nefarious, that don't treat you anymore, say thank you for your service, thank you for teaching me what you've taught me, and now you can go to your gatekeeper and be on your way, and you with love you send them on their way. That's and at the same time go, well, and higher self, I'd like to bring in my beautiful entities from past lifetimes and that sort of thing to join me now, because I don't have the space for them to join me. That's sort of thing. You know, as you empty that shadow out, and there'll always be shadow, because without duality we don't have the human experience.
That's right.
It's how you react to the shadow.
Yes.
Right? Embrace the shadow.
Yeah.
What's the worst it can do? You know, it's
teach you something.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
And again, it's a fluff way of saying it. When people who go through unexpected death of family members and all that sort of thing, they're extreme versions of that. So I don't want to cover it lightly, but again, it's opportunity there where I've seen people who have lost family members, and some of them are just, they never recover from it, and others go out and become absolute inspirations and do incredible things. And that void, and of course in Letting Go it talks about that void inspires you to then move towards the spirituality side of things. Yeah,
that's right. And that's the whole, you know, the breaking point of, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to sit in this anymore. Yeah.
And that's why it'll be interesting, this whole great awakening and as to what happens and how it happens. It would be nice if we could just move to a beautiful new world without anyone going through any sort of shit, you know.
Boring.
But how, I know from my point of view and your point of view, and virtually every single person I know that has activated their pineal gland and become awakened, and awaken's like it's a word that's, It can mean a lot of things, you know. But to me, it's activating your pineal gland and that sends you on your way, you know, and then going with that is it never happens until something really shakes you up for it to happen. Yeah. You have to get outside of your comfort zone and question the matrix. Yeah. Otherwise it won't happen.
That's right. And that's why these beautiful, you know, movies are being created because, you know, getting to the understanding and the awareness that everything's happening within consciousness and its evolution within itself is then being able to break through and see from a broader perspective of how this information is just incredibly like the Matrix movie or like Everything Everywhere All at Once and music. I can't believe I've got a Tool tattoo, right? And I don't know if you know the band Tool, but I had no idea.
Oh, I've got Led Zeppelin tattoos.
I had no idea Tool is all about awakening.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. And it's almost like when I went through the transition of coming into, I couldn't listen to any of this heavy metal stuff that I listened to, but Tool, I was like, holy crap, they've been saying this to me the whole time. And I didn't even realize, you know. And it's this beautiful, when you begin to see that consciousness is leading us into our awakening through every aspect of our life. We just can't see it. We're just not aware.
Remembering. Yeah, just remembering.
It is.
No, I had another incident, and it was a horrible incident. I don't mind, I'll talk about anything from my past. I used to smoke a lot of the synthetic dope because I worked offshore and it was legal. I'd go to the shop and buy it, and I was a bloody stoner for years, you know. Yeah. So I go and buy it, and it was so bad for you. It nearly killed me a couple of times. And I had a lot of trauma that I hadn't dealt with and a lot over the years and all that sort of thing, you know. So we deal with it by, you know, suppression, repression or projection, you know. So I was suppressing it by smoking all the time. And anyway, I got this stuff that had a horrible snake's head on it. It was an evil snake's head. And all my kids were living with it at the time. My son would have been 17, I think. And I've gone out the back and I've pulled a couple of cones of this stuff, and then all of a sudden, bang. It's like I did not know who I was, where I was, what I was. I did not recognise anything whatsoever. All I knew is that I was an alien in this fucking meat sack and I needed to get back to my home planet. That's all I knew, right? And I absolutely freaked out and got so upset, one, because I didn't know where I was. I was in this meat sack. I didn't know how long it would be till I could get back to my planet. I didn't know where my planet was. And that this beautiful boy inside was not actually my son because I'm an alien in a meat sack, right? And it just totally devastated. I'm sitting there cowering in the carport because even at that age I didn't like smoking in front of them, and cowering there in absolute abject fear and just absolute horribleness, you know. And I'm going, I'm an alien, and I'm, you know. What the fuck? Where am I supposed to be? Where's my planet? How long am I going to be here for? And then at the same time, I got this incredible sadness that everything that I knew of my family and everything wasn't real because this is a, you know, thing like that. And then slowly I clawed my way back to reality. I said, my name's Al Muir and I live at 5 Montelli Murray Elbow. And then I looked around and went, no, that was actually the other house that I used to live in. Right? Yeah. And I slowly clawed, I know this is where I am now, and clawed my way back, and my name is Alan Muir, and I clawed my way back and went, oh my God, and I'm just totally shaken up, you know. I'm going, I'm not touching that shit again. No way. Well, that stuff wears out pretty quickly, and about half an hour later, this thought came into my mind. I wonder if that'll do that to me again. I'm either going to die or
that's
something.
It.
So anyway, it's certainly going to just made me feel horrible and sick, and it didn't happen. I threw it away, and I stopped smoking it completely shortly after that. But it would just got to be called a manic, some sort of, you know, psychotic episode, right? Yeah. But from that day forth, I knew there was something to it. Yeah. And that was actually the most horrible of horriblest awakening moments. So awakening happens in all sorts of ways.
Oh, 100%.
That was the most horrible way, and I was killing and poisoning myself and, again, on some sort of death mission, you know. Yeah. And it awakened me that day. There was something. So now I'm sort of curious as to what planet I am from. I don't know, but I'll find out one day.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting because the course that I started, he said, "Oh, you're a starseed," and they've been trying to wake you up for a long time.
Yeah.
But that's why it's almost like you've got this rocket behind you now, because it's like, hurry up. You've wasted so much time and you needed, which is quite amazing. But I've never really, I don't know, I haven't really gone into the starseedy thing because I guess, you know how we were talking before about how we don't like being told, like there's rules and there's this and there's
Don't tell me what to do.
Don't put me in a box is my big thing. Don't put me in a box. You know, so I guess that's probably why I've avoided it. But yeah, it's interesting because we've all been everything and we all are everything. And that's really interesting too when people go, "Oh, I remember I was such and such in a past life." Well, I get this vision, like, say, who can we use? I'm like thinking of the major people, but I won't go that far. Let's say who's someone really famous that's amazing.
Russell Brand?
Well, he's still alive.
Oh, someone who's dead, you mean?
Yeah. So
Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix. So they can say, well, he was in our lifetime, but let's just use him as an example. So say he lived a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
So the way I view it is that he lived and then his soul or his experience is fractioned out into many different people. And then that keeps going and that keeps going. And so some people say, oh, I was, I don't know if I've heard Jesus before, but if they're channeling like something specific, I believe that because everyone's connected, everyone's kind of been everyone.
Yeah.
And so we've got this like access, and there's a lot of ego that can be there as well, of just like the humans have this need to want to be the best and the biggest, like, oh, I'm channeling the most amazing thing. But you kind of can't count it out either. So you just, which is just phenomenal. I think we all have the ability to access anyone because we are one.
Well, yeah. We're one consciousness having this human experience.
That's right.
And that's in the same in the Buddhist philosophy, where we have all been each other's mother at some stage.
That's right.
And they teach that. And in all these religions, they all have similar messages. They all say similar things. So, and like you say, to be of service, and you have this urge to be of service. Mm-hmm. So as part of our little, in-house ad, I think we'll call it, what are you have to think about this. What is it that you're doing at the moment of service that people may be able to access, Jodi, and how would they do that? And a hard question, but here you go.
Okay, so basically I've come into the realization, and it's become very, very apparent to me lately, that I've been given this experience to be able to then assist others in where they're at. And if I could put it into a name, I would call it transcending your reality. And there's many processes, there's many pathways, there's many ways to do this. And I tend to kind of think of it as a masculine and a feminine approach, where the masculine's the mind part and the feminine's the emotional part. And, together with those two aspects, you can transcend your reality. So basically, I'm actually creating a few courses at the moment, and I'm tapping into my soul to become more clear which one is taking priority at this time. But basically, I'm designing a program or courses that are going to assist people in their journey into this awakening and discovering of self and self-healing and self-awareness, because I believe that awareness is probably paramount above, with anything in this journey. If you have awareness and that will within you, because the will is like your intention, it's the will to, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to live like this anymore. You really need that part to really make a change, because that kind of just, I picture it like a seed, and it grows inside you, and then it just, comes out like this beautiful flower. So, I've got a lot of things happening.
We do, don't we? Once you start doing conscious creation and everything is just more and more and more things, and let's sort of try and narrow it down to a couple at a time and actually get them done, don't we?
That's right. And that's what I'm learning to accept now about, they call it drawing in strengths. So, if I don't have any problem with ideas, I'm very, with the intuitive gift, we could just bang it out in 10 minutes.
That's right.
But then it's like, okay, well, what am I doing with this here?
Someone do this for me, will you?
Yeah, right. And so,
just the
sometimes
ideas, man.
it is that. Sometimes it is and that's beautiful because that's why we all have different unique gifts, because somebody can't do the information part.
Yeah.
They can only do the part after that, which is beautiful. But I'm really going into like co-creation, things like this, working with others. I see retreats on the way. I see so many circles. I feel a little bit similar to you in the way of group feels more aligned to me. I've had plenty of one-on-one sessions, but I just feel like the impact with connecting the energy is more powerful in a way. It does something when you consciously connect in a group. So basically that's what.
And when you have got these courses done, where can people access your courses, or just to follow you or to see what you're up to and where you're at? And of course, if they do that, then they'll know where you're at with your courses and what you're doing, won't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because next week everything could change again.
And it does. Where energy is always changing, we need to embrace the change. Yeah. That's a big thing that we don't have a problem with, because we're full of like, woo, let's do it. But then do we actually do any of it? No. So I do have a Facebook page at the moment, which is called Jodi Parry Intuitive. I also am available to email at jodiparry@outlook.com. I would highly recommend reaching out to email, because something big is birthing. And so by the time this reaches whoever's ears, because information is vibration, and this could happen in a year's time that somebody wants to make contact with us. So, I highly recommend just sending me an email through that, and we can have a chat.
Cool. Well, I've noticed that we've now been talking for over 2 hours.
Oh, really? Wow.
So we might sort of wrap it up a little bit there, because I could just keep talking. But one thing about the awareness, as you were saying, because we started off talking about self-healing. Now, to heal yourself, one of the things that I notice, and awareness helps you with this, because one of the practices I've done several times is to watch every thought for days on end, because I can sit here and do it. Yeah. And of course you don't all the time, but to watch every single thought and just notice it and do nothing else is an incredible experience. Even to do it just for 5 minutes is an incredible experience. Yeah. So I've noticed with the self-healing, this ability I have to get rid of the pain and everything like that. But of course, as soon as I come out of that meditative, ecstatic state and the pain comes back, what I had to do is notice the immediate emotion that goes with it. So the immediate emotion is panic, fear that it's going to get worse, that I'm going to end up spending a week in bed, that I'm going to be stuck in the forest where no one knows where I am. Yeah. That happened a few weeks ago. And so the awareness is, and part of the self-healing process is to pick up in the millisecond when that emotion starts, right? And go, aha, there you are, that emotion. And then not try and turn it around into a love emotion, but just notice it. And as soon as you notice it, it dissipates, and the loving, healing energy just automatically comes in. You don't have to try. That's right. You just have to get rid of that emotion response, whatever you call it. And that was the other part of self-healing that's so important for me. And it's something that I'm teaching people just as an experiment, and I'm asking them how they go, trying to teach them how to self-heal and that sort of thing. And to me, that's the two things: one, to access that beautiful euphoria that you can have, and practice putting your energy in different parts of your body, and then sending that beautiful love emotion in that part of your body. I believe that's what Reiki is. I'm not sure, but to be able to do that for yourself, you know, but also the second part of it is noticing that emotion straight away, and putting a stop to it just by noticing it. That's it. Just notice it.
Yeah. And that's, you know, the shining the light on it because it's bringing light. Yeah. Because, you know, when you were just saying that, I had sort of imagery of like a child and our body, if you picture our body like a child, and these emotions they're not sure, they're lost, they don't know what they're doing, and then they've been shoved, they've been put in the corner, you know, and they're like, when they come up, they might be upset. And we need to welcome them back into wholeness and back into, I hear you, I see you. You know, it doesn't have to be so much like, quick, put love on it. It's more, it's just the awareness.
You want to put a Band-Aid and fix it straight away, but you don't have to.
Yeah, or shove it away. Yeah, and this poor, if you've, like that image I just got of just like this beautiful little child. And I guess, you know, you could adapt that to your inner child, but if you did it with each emotion is like a little child, then it's like, oh, what do you know, you don't want them hiding in a corner. You want to welcome them back into wholeness and love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a beautiful way to finish up. Thank you so much for being my first guest, Jodi. I think we'll have to have another session a bit further down the track.
Absolutely.
There's still plenty more to talk about.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
And we'll be back.
Yeah. Thanks, Al.
Thank you, Jodi.
Bye.